Hello, this lecture is going to talk about the IRAC essay and what you need to do to write one. So as you'll recall, IRAC stands for Issue, Rule, Analysis, and Conclusion. And sometimes you'll see this written as FIRAC, starting with an F, and the F would stand for the facts of the case. So when you're thinking about an IRAC essay, first you want to put down some preliminary information. You don't want to jump right into the issue. First, you'll want to have a heading, and your heading should have the case or article name. And the reason I have some things other than cases is because when we do write the IRAC essays, what you're writing this week really is sort of a case brief. But in future, I'll be giving you some sort of more general questions that you'll use cases and articles and the like to support your information or to support your responses to the questions. But anyways, in the heading, you would put that case or article name and then a full citation. And your full citation should follow any format that you prefer for non-legal resources, and for legal resources you'll want to follow Blue Book legal formatting, and I'll provide you with that information on how to do Blue Book formatting. For the facts, you want to put what it is that you need to know in order to answer the issue question. You don't want to go on and on with the facts. The facts should really just include what is essential to being able to answer the question. And it may be that if you're sort of starting at the top of the page and working your way down, you don't know when you're writing the facts what's exactly essential and what's not. So you can be a little bit more exhaustive at the beginning and then go back and edit, taking out stuff that people don't really need to know in order to get to the answer to the question. So, the issue. The issue is the question that needs to be answered. Very straightforward. What question needs to be answered? I like to see the issue in a whether-when format. And I'm going to use an example of like Dick and Jane. Maybe Jane wants to buy a new bed from Dick off of Craigslist. And so let's say that Jane agrees to buy the bed, Dick agrees to sell the bed to her. Jane goes over to buy the bed, she has the money, she's borrowed a truck, she gets there. Dick has sold the bed to somebody else. That's scum. So anyways, Jane decides to sue Dick, and we're going to write a case brief on that. So the question is whether Jane can sue Dick when he sold the bed that he had promised to sell to her. So you see how that whether-when works? Whether there was a violation of the law when these facts occurred. So you're going whether about the law, when with the facts. And that's how the whether-when format works. Not everybody writes issue questions using the whether-when format. If you look out on the web and you do some research on IRAC, you'll see lots of different ways that people write issues. But really, I want you to use the whether-when format. Not just because I'm mean, but because I think it's a good way to develop your thinking. And lawyers think in the whether-when format. And so if you ever have the opportunity to interact with lawyers, being able to phrase issue questions in that way is helpful. And also, since the whether-when format is more used by actual lawyers or law students, you might run into it a little bit less when you're hunting down information on the internet, and so it might just stop you a little bit from cheating. So use the whether-when format. Anyways, when you're doing the issue, you want to be specific and stay focused with the case at hand. Now, an issue question in the scenario we just talked about, whether the law was violated, that's not an issue question that I would be happy with. While indeed that is sort of the issue, I want details whether Dick violated the law when he sold the bed to somebody besides Jane. That's what I want to see in that whether-when format and in the issue question, something specific, something focused. We'll come back in the next part talking about the rule.